Imagine this. In the dead of night during the Gulf War, a single shadowy helicopter, no bigger than a bus, silently hunts down an entire enemy submarine fleet, dropping torpedoes that vanish beneath the waves like ghosts one hit, and boom! A multi-million-dollar sub is gone in seconds. Sounds like science fiction. It's not. It's the MH-60 Seahawk, the U.S. Navy's ultimate predator of the deep. But here's the shocker you never saw coming. This beast wasn't built for glory in dogfights or beach assaults. It was born from a desperate Cold War panic over silent Soviet subs sneaking up on American carriers. What if I told you that one design flaw in its early days nearly sank the whole program, and how it turned that weakness into its deadliest weapon? Stick around, because today we're diving deep into the Seahawk's explosive history, from its frantic creation to the wars it won, its killer strengths, hidden flaws, and why it's still outgunning rivals today. By the end, you'll know why this chopper isn't just a machine. It's the Navy's unbreakable shield. If you're hooked on military tech that actually shaped history, smash that subscribe button right now and hit the bell. We've got more edge-of-your-seat stories coming your way. Let's launch. All right, strap in. We're rewinding to the tense heart of the Cold War, the late 1970s. The U.S. Navy was sweating bullets. Picture this. Massive Soviet submarines armed with nukes, lurking like sharks under the Atlantic, ready to torpedo American carriers in a heartbeat. The Navy's old workhorses, the SH-3 Sea King and SH-2 Sea Sprite, were relics from the Vietnam era. They were slow, underarmed, and couldn't keep up with the supersonic threats below the waves. Subs were getting quieter, deadlier, and the Navy needed a game changer, a helicopter that could hunt from the deck of a destroyer, deploy sonar like a fishing line, and strike before the enemy even knew it was there. Enter Sikorsky aircraft, the wizards behind the Army's UH-60 Black Hawk, that iconic troop hauler from movies like Black Hawk Down. In 1977, the Navy tapped them for the Light Airborne Multi-Purpose System, or LAMPS program. Why? Simple. The Black Hawk's airframe was tough, reliable, and already proven in brutal tests. But the Navy demanded tweaks for the salty sea life. Folding rotors for tight ship hangars, corrosion-proof hulls, and a dipping sonar that could listen for subs up to 20 miles away. Engineers worked around the clock in Stratford, Connecticut, battling budget cuts and tech glitches. The first prototype, the YSH-60B, roared into the sky on December 7th, 1979, Pearl Harbor Day, a poetic nod to naval grit. By 1982, after grueling sea trials where prototypes were dunked in freezing waves and hammered by 50-knot winds, the SH-60B Light Airborne Multi-Purpose System was greenlit. It entered full service in 1984, replacing the old Guard overnight. Cost? About $24 million per bird back then, a steal for what it could do. But this wasn't just an upgrade, it was a revolution. The Seahawk turned every destroyer into a sub-killer, extending the Navy's eyes and fangs far beyond the horizon. Little did they know, this chopper was about to etch its name in blood and fire across the globe. Now, let's fast forward through the timeline of triumphs, because the Seahawk didn't just sit pretty. It dove head first into the hottest fires of modern warfare. Its baptism by fire? Operation Earnest Will in 1987. Iranian speedboats were mining the Persian Gulf, threatening oil tankers during the Iran-Iraq War. Seahawk crews from USS Samuel B. Roberts flew endless patrols, their dipping sonars pinging for mines like bats in the night. One hairy moment. A Seahawk spotted a mine cluster and guided divers to neutralize it, saving a convoy worth billions. But the real legend was forged in the Gulf War, 1991. As Operation Desert Shield kicked off, over 100 Seahawks swarmed the theater. In Desert Storm, they flew 10,000 sorties, hunting Iraqi subs and silkworm missiles. Remember that shocking secret? On February 24th, a single MH-60B from Helicopter Anti-Submarine Squadron 5 detected an Iraqi patrol boat sneaking toward U.S. ships. In under 90 seconds, it unleashed AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, laser-guided fire and forget killers, vaporizing the threat from 5 miles out. No American losses. Subs. Forget it. Seahawks dropped Mk-46 torpedoes that tracked like heat-seeking sharks, sinking simulated Soviet kilos in exercises that mirrored real hunts. The 2000s ramped up the chaos. In Afghanistan's Operation Enduring Freedom, MH60S variants, the Sierras, became lifeline angels, airlifting wounded troops from jagged Hindu Kush peaks under Taliban fire. In Iraq, they ran vertical replenishment, slinging 9,000-pound cargo loads to isolated bases while dodging RPGs. And don't get me started on anti-piracy ops off Somalia. Seahawks from USS Boxer boarded hijacked ships, rescuing captains at gunpoint. By 2011's Osama bin Laden raid, Special Ops, MH-60s were the silent inserters, proving their stealth in the darkest ops. Over 30 years, they've logged millions of flight hours, from drug busts in the Pacific to disaster relief after Hurricane Katrina, where they evacuated 1,000 souls in 48 hours. Each mission, a high-stakes thriller where one wrong ping meant disaster. So what makes the Seahawk a legend? Let's break down the specs that turn pilots into aces. Twin General Electric T700 turbo shaft engines pump out 3,870 horsepower each, hitting 180 knots. That's 207 miles per hour, while cruising 450 nautical miles on internal fuel payload. Up to 11 troops or 6,000 pounds of gear slung underneath like a venomous sting. Armament is a arsenal. Hellfires for surface strikes, Penguin missiles for ships, Mk-54 torpedoes for subs, and a .50 caliber door gun for close quarters chaos sensors. Game over tech. The AN/APS 153 radar scans 360 degrees for threats, while the ALQ 210 electronic support measures jam enemy radars like a digital force field. The MH60R Romeo upgrade in 2006 added glass cockpits and dipping sonars that detect diesel-electric subs at 50,000 yards. It's multi-role magic, anti-sub, ASW, anti-surface, ASUW, search and rescue, SAR, even vertical onboard delivery, VOD, for hot zone resupply. Crew of 3, they fly at nap of the earth low, evading SAMs like ghosts. But no hero's perfect, and the Seahawks got scars that keep engineers up at night. First weakness, that maritime life is brutal. Salt corrosion eats floorboards and airframes like acid. Since 2020, the Navy's battled floorboard fatigue on over 200 birds, delaying missions and jacking maintenance costs to $10,000 per flight hour. Early models, no night vision compatibility. Pilots flew blind in the MH60B, relying on gut instinct during moonless ops. Speed solid, but it's no sprinter. Max 180 knots pales against the NH90's 193. And armament. Limited stub wings mean it can't haul the heavy hitters like an Apache. You're trading firepower for versatility. In rough seas, the folding rotors help, but gusts over 40 knots ground it faster than rivals. Still, these flaws, they've been patched with Romeo and Sierra upgrades, turning lemons into laser-guided lemonade. Today in 2025, the Seahawk's no museum piece. It's the Navy's backbone with 700 plus in service and counting. MH-60Rs prowl Indo Pacific waters, countering China's subfleet, while S models sling supplies to carriers like floating fortresses. Exported to 15 nations, Australia, Japan, Saudi Arabia, it's a global guardian, upgraded with ESA radars and drone-launched munitions. How does it stack up against peers? Against the UH-60 Black Hawk, its land-based cousin, the Seahawk wins at sea. Corrosion-proofing and sea-state hover give it an edge in swells, though the Black Hawk hauls more troops inland, 14 versus 11. The European NH-90, newer and climbier, 2,300 feet per minute versus Seahawk's 1,650 with a 540 nautical mile range edge. But it's plagued by crashes and delays. Seahawk's 99% reliability smokes at Italy's AW139. A civilian sweetheart for VIPs and SR, but zero combat punch. Seahawk's weapons suite laps it. Bottom line, in its class, medium maritime multis, the Seahawk's the undisputed king, blending proven grit with endless upgrades. It's not the flashiest, but it's the one that wins wars. From Cold War cradle to today's thunder, the MH60 Seahawk proves one thing: true power isn't in speed, it's in showing up every time. What blew your mind most? The Gulf War torpedo drops or those hidden corrosion battles? Drop it in the comments, and if this dive into naval legends kept you glued, hit subscribe for more. Like, share, and fly safe out there.